This is the Fearless Finance Podcast with Amy Ross. Amy and the team at Gold Shield Wealth are dedicated to helping adults plan for and manage the hurdles they may face on their journey to retirement. Get more, including contact information in the show notes. Now, Fearless Finance with financial advisor Amy Ross.
Happy Independence Day weekend as we celebrate America 250. How you doing this weekend?
I'm doing wonderful. 250 years that this wonderful country has been alive. That's crazy, isn't it, to think about that?
It's been fun watching over the past month, I guess now, the World Cup and seeing everybody coming from overseas. And they have this perception of what America is. And be it if it's just online or social media or just from what the news tells them. And they're seeing all these stories from people saying, this is a great country. I don't know what y'all are complaining about so much. We're pretty dang lucky here, Amy.
We are so lucky, and that's what people forget. I mean, you can find something to complain about if you try hard enough anywhere, but we're so blessed to say that we belong in the USA, that we're citizens of this amazing country.
And it's been fun to watch, everyone coming over here that's never been to the States before, and then finding the little things that we take for granted, like Buc-ee's gas station.
Oh, my God, Buc-ee's. But you know what? Buc-ee's is so cool. Like, everybody that drives by a Buc-ee's, they want to stop. If they don't have time, they want to stop always, because I think it's the hype. Whoever done their marketing and got this thing going, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
And they're like, I get free refills of my soda, and I can get a brisket taco, and I can get a throw pillow.
They have a beef jerky bar with like 14 different kinds of beef jerky. That's one reason I stop in Buc-ee's. I love their beef jerky.
And everybody that's new here is just fall in love with ranch dressing.
Well, who doesn't love ranch dressing?
That's a good point. Sorry, great point.
I can feel sorry for them. They're just now discovering it.
Well, as we celebrate America 250, and it's not just on the 4th of July weekend, we're celebrating America 250 all year long. And Amy Ross, this is something that you do every day at Gold Shield Wealth. GoldShieldWealth.com, and that number is 843-585-5223. You help adults find their financial independence. But if you were to define that, Amy, what does financial independence truly look like for the families you serve?
That's honestly one of my favorite things to do, is to work with people to make them feel independent and empowered. And generally, it just takes, at the very beginning, just a few honest conversations to figure out where everything is at and what are their goals. A lot of times people, they don't even really know what they're trying to achieve. Mm-hmm. And it sounds silly to say that, but it's so true, because when I sit down with people, a lot of times they feel so disconnected with what they've created. They know they have the mold, the clay there. They just don't really know what to make of it. And I have found that, if you can get an actual plan in place, a plan to where it's intentional. I'm a very logical, intentional advisor. I believe that at the age of retirement, at or near, that's when you need to have a map in place, a roadmap. But with all of that and knowing what to expect and having planned it out, that independent nature just kind of blooms and it blossoms as we go. I get a lot of calls after the fact, after we have things in place, and text messages, and it makes my day. So if any of my clients are listening to this, you keep sending me that stuff, because it really does. It keeps me going, because that's one of the biggest fears in retirement for people is losing, running out of money.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to run out of money. So that leads into being afraid to spend it as well. And then you're in this horrible, I call it like a hamster on a wheel, just running around in circles. You never get anywhere. But once you find that independence, it's just amazing. It's a game changer in retirement. But you have to work with someone, feel informed, understand what's going on. So you feel just like any time else in your life, right? If you didn't feel like you understood what was going on, you certainly didn't feel independent in that situation. But once you did understand, well, then there you go. You start to feel like a big boy or a big girl a little bit better. You're like, I got it going on now. I know what's going on. I can be independent.
A couple seconds ago, you mentioned the power of having a roadmap, because we've heard that before. We've said it on the show before, but really define that for me. What does that mean?
That one is also, it's not a forever. Think about how many trips that you take, and you might need to stop for a bathroom break, or you might get hungry, right? So your map isn't always what you stick to 100%, but to go into retirement with no roadmap at all is flying completely blind.
Yeah.
What we do here at Gold Shield Wealth personally is we create the roadmap, but we also check our directions. each year. We meet and we talk about it and make sure that our goal and our final destination is still the same. But just knowing that you have a plan in place, that you're like, okay, this is what I do. And we keep looking at that. That's another thing. It's not a set it and forget it. A roadmap isn't create one map and that's the end all be all. But you have to constantly double check your directions.
And I read a report somewhere that said that people really start getting serious about putting strategies together after the holidays. There's not a lot of science to back this up. I'm just curious if you see it.
There is zero science to back that up, but it is so true. I typically take practically the entire month of December off because people just, they think that nothing is going to change in their finances during the holidays.
Right.
Or, sometimes during the summer, people are like, I want to go see the grandkids, or I want to go on this trip or this cruise or that cruise, so my finances will wait. And that's not always the smartest idea.
Right.
What I try to do is if I have people that are going to be traveling and enjoying their vacation and their summer or the holidays, I'm like, listen, how about this? How about you pass the baton on over to me, give me what I need to work at. I will work while you're out vacationing. And that way we're not wasting time. There's ways to do it, to still get things done. Because I understand people do like to travel and they deserve to travel. But you can also let me be doing work on the back end for you while you're out doing nothing. I'll do the heavy lifting.
I think now is a good opportunity to take advantage of a mid-year review, if you will. Maybe sit down and see what's working and not working.
Oh, absolutely. And, honestly, generally people in the summer are happier. So having conversations about things in the summer is a lot of times more pleasant. I know that sounds silly, but think about it. The sunshine, the vitamin D, especially here in Myrtle Beach, it's gorgeous, except it's holier. It's like hot.
Yeah.
Very, very hot right now.
Yeah.
But, most of the time, if you can be in a happy headspace, when you have certain conversations, they'll go better and you'll receive things differently.
Yeah, well, until those bills come in from that big family vacation.
It's not real money when you're on vacation, right? When you go spend money and you're on vacation, it's not real.
I know you love this community and you love being here, but where do you go for fun? Because you're talking about your families and the clients you serve and everyone's
What
taking
do I
vacation.
like to do?
Yeah, what do you do?
Well, I frequent all the ice cream shops. So if you ever need advice on who has the best ice cream based on the side of town you're on, you just call Amy. I can definitely tell you that. You know what? I love the beach. As a little girl, I wanted to live by the beach.
Yeah.
And God has blessed me to be able to do it way, way, way before I ever thought I would be able to. So just that ocean, the sand. Andrew and I, my family, we like to play tourists sometimes here in Myrtle Beach. So, we don't be shocked if you see me walking around Broadway at the beach or Barefoot Landing, or you run into me in one of the silly shows. We'll see, the last show that we watched was the Magician Show in Broadway. That's fun. So,
excellent.
When you live in a place where people save up their money an entire year to come in vacation, it's fun to pretend like you're a tourist here sometimes as well.
That's fun.
I'm an equal opportunist. As long as it's fun, I will try anything pretty much once.
And as we're talking about vacations, especially this time of the year, taking the family, taking the grandkids, do you find that most of us, and I put myself in this category too, we spend more time planning for a week-long vacation than we would a 25, 30, 35-year retirement?
Oh, absolutely. And even beyond that, I'll take it a little further. You know way more details about that vacation than you do your life savings. And that's scary, but that's the truth. A lot of people have zero idea what they even have.
Yeah.
So there's a huge disconnect there. It's sometimes I just look and like the priorities that people have are backwards sometimes. A lot of times.
So what do you mean?
Prioritizing fun and vacations and the now, and not taking time and a few hours out of your life to sit down with someone like myself or one of my team to plan out how are you going to spend all that, how are you going to pay for everything? It really boils down to having the money to fund your hopes and your dreams. And with no plan in place, you can risk losing a lot of that life savings to either the market or taxes or both. And then there goes your fun along with it.
That's what we don't want to lose. The whole point is
and we
to have
don't
fun.
want to lose that.
Yeah.
We don't want to lose the fun.
As we're celebrating our independence here this weekend, this was a study that does have the science to back it up, and I want to get your take on it. Only about 33% of Americans think that the country is headed in the right direction financially. 25%, only 25%, feel good about the economy. So when you work with somebody who has these fears about where this country is headed financially, how do you help calm some of those fears and help us find that direction?
The economy is constantly changing. So even though you're unhappy now, you may not be unhappy later. So we have to plan according to what the economic environment is going to bring us, right? For right now, the economy even though we're at a crazy high inflation, people are still out spending money like it's burning, it's like burning a hole in their pocket. So I think there are always going to be some naysayers that will always try to scare people. Oh, don't invest your money in the stock market. It's gonna crash or whatever. But the problem is you need balance in your portfolio. You shouldn't be afraid of the economy. I mean, it is the world we live in. We can't change it. You just have to navigate it appropriately.
Take a couple of minutes here, Amy, and describe that for me. Break it down. What can you do for me, Amy?
You know what I like to do, it comes from my extensive healthcare background, but I like to dissect things and I like to see what's inside. I don't want to just look at the surface of anything because most things on the surface look totally different. I need to know their innards, their working parts.
Right.
And so in healthcare, I don't have to do cancer planning, but to know where the tumor was situated and where it was in relation to critical organs. We did CT scans and it gave us a full-on view of where everything was at. And that's truly what I like to do before I give any opinion whatsoever to someone that meets with me is like, let me dissect this. Mm-hmm. Let me rip it apart. I like to rip things apart and then I like to put them back together the way they should be. So I don't know, it just kind of came out and now I call it a full body scan. It sounds cool.
I love that. No, it works. And if you're looking to have your innards of your retirement portfolio looked at, reach out to Amy Ross, 843-585-5223. You can call or you can text as well. And you can just text the words body scan and Amy will understand exactly what it is.
Heck, they can text the word innards and we'll know what it is now, right?
At this point, now it's like our own little secret society. We have our own language here on Fearless Finance.
Oh, I have words for everything. My clients make fun of me. They call them Amyisms.
Amyisms. And the Amyism for today is innards. Innards is our word for today. 843-585-5223. You can make the call or you can shoot the team a text. I want to talk about the little victories here because this time of the year, we're all spending time at the baseball game, going to minor league baseball. Go support minor league baseball as well. I know you had a great client event at a minor league baseball game a little bit earlier this summer. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, that was so much fun. I'm going to have to practice throwing that damn ball, though, over the plate better because I missed it by 5 feet. I got it over the plate distance. It was just too far to the right. So I've got to do better next time.
That's all right. That works. You got it to the plate.
For a girl, it wasn't horrible, and I'm definitely not a baseball player, so it could have been worse.
How did the crowd react, by the way? That's the big one.
Oh, I think they thought I was wonderful.
Well, there you go.
At least my people up in that box were cheering for me. That's the only ones I really cared about, so I had at least 25 people cheering for me.
I want you to hear this clip from financial author Patrick Kelly as we're talking about baseball here. He says, in retirement planning, it's not about the grand slams, it's about the singles and doubles.
I think people feel like they need to hit home runs or grand slams to win this retirement game, and it's not true. All they need to do is hit singles and doubles over and over and over again, getting on base over and over and over again, and never taking a loss. I mean, think about it. We're using the baseball analogy a little further. If you could hit a single every single time and never strike out, you're going to win that game.
If you could hit a single every time at bat in Major League Baseball, you would be a Hall of Famer. But for what you do, Amy, for creating retirement strategies, the singles and doubles, give me some examples. What would you consider?
I want to just say amen to that one because it's so funny. Even as a non-baseball player, I do understand baseball, okay? Mm-hmm. Number one, you're my buddy, and you're connected to the Braves, so I had to do some research, so I at least sounded smart talking to you. But Andrew was a pitcher for the University of Miami in his younger days. And one thing that I do try to impress on my clients when they come in and they're at that retirement age and they're like, Amy, we want to take a massive amount of risk. I'm like, wait a minute, we can do that, but you're not going to hit home runs or grand slams every time.
Yeah.
What I try to build for people is something that gets us to first base, second base, third base, and then home. That's my goal because it doesn't need to be about trying to hit grand slams and home runs when you're in retirement because you know what? You can also strike out.
Would you consider that as like an example? Somebody going all in on the hot new stock. I mean, we talked about SpaceX.
Yeah, or crypto or Bitcoin or something that their neighbor says they should buy because it sounds like it's going to hit. I have a lot of clients, that higher net worth clients, a lot of times they'll be like, how about I keep a play account? I'm like, how about this? You try to hit home runs and grand slams with your side of what you're managing, and then you give me what you want to be able to live off of because I'm going to build something that hopefully gets you home. I'm going to give it all I got to make sure you cross that home plate.
I love
what
that.
You're doing, we're not so sure. So let's not structure everything that way.
Okay, Coach, I come to you and I say, well, listen, Amy, this is my money. and I want to swing for the fences and I want to take advantage of Bitcoin, or I want to jump into crypto, or my friend of a friend who has a friend who saw on Reddit that this is going to be the next big IPO. I want to take this and put it in there. How do you react to that?
I listen because, there's nothing wrong with that. There really isn't. And someone who comes to me with plenty enough money, if we have done a full-on retirement plan and I look and I know that we have their income needs met, because that's ultimately what has to happen. When you retire, you have to make sure you can pay your bills.
Yeah.
So if we can check off certain boxes of criteria that in my mind will give me, as someone who has a fiduciary standard, right? I have to give advice that's looking out for people. So to me, think about it as when you go to a casino.
Okay.
If you take money into a casino, that isn't going to matter if you lose it to buy your groceries or your gas or pay for your kids' daycare or whatever else. It doesn't matter, does it? But if you need that money, that's probably not the best investment for you. And so that's what I look at. It's all situational. Now, if someone has $400,000 in their savings, and that's a lot of retirees. There's a huge misconception that people are retiring with millions and millions. They're just not, especially not here in Myrtle Beach. They're not. So, if someone has $400,000 to their name, income needs are barely met, probably going and trying to chase the next best, hottest stock that may or may not hit, or crypto or Bitcoin, or these things that are very, very controversial. I'm probably not going to tell that person that they get an Amy 2 thumbs up to go roll with that. It's just not the way I do it, because I want to make sure my clients are okay. Ultimately, I want to make sure that they have money to support them throughout their entire retirement. And it would be a worse fear of mine to give advice like that to someone and say, yeah, let's throw $100,000 in this, and next thing we're down 40%, and it changes the whole landscape of their life. I'm a firm believer that people at or near retirement need to rein back. And it's not about getting rich anymore. It's about making it last. It's about not getting eaten up in taxes. It's about putting that income plan, legacy plan. How do we want to leave this money to our heirs? The landscape of the whole planning process changes when you turn that age. No different than your doctors. As you're old, when you're younger, you see a pediatrician, but when you get older, you don't see a pediatrician. It's just different. You age out of certain things, even certain, a lot of people are younger in their mind than they really are.
Yeah.
And so they feel like they can take all this extra risk because they don't realize how much time it can take to regain what they lost. But, they need to think back at 2008.
Yeah.
And what happened to people there.
You mentioned being a fiduciary, and that's one of the most common questions that you get asked. And I just want to let you know that as an investment advisor representative, Amy has a fiduciary responsibility to act in her client's best interest when offering or recommending investment advisory products and services. This means that within her capacity as an IAR, she is obligated to disclose any conflicts of interest when offering investment products. And I know it's a very popular question, and I know you get it all the time. So she does act on a fiduciary standard of care. Amy Ross and the team at Gold Shield Wealth.
And that means a lot to me. I take that so serious. I do. And I also run Gold Shield Wealth a lot like I learned in healthcare. First, do no harm. And so that's where I really pour my heart and my soul, and I pray about things a lot. Like, am I giving the right advice for this person? Because ultimately I do want to make my people as much money as I can, but I don't want to let greed take over. That's not good and that's what happens when you're trying to hit those home runs and those grand slams and different things like that. It's not wise. And so for me to be looking out for them, a lot of times I try to be the voice of reason, whether they like me for it or not. That's okay. Not everybody says yes. I don't say yes to everybody either.
Yeah.
But I do try to be honest, and I try to give a heartfelt evaluation of what I believe will set them up for success and not failure and disappointment and undue stress and angst during retirement.
I love that you said that, Amy, because that's why she prides herself on offering that initial consultation, no cost, no obligation, just to get to know Amy, just to get to know the team at Gold Shield Wealth. And you've said it before, not to be like a Debbie Downer here, but you've said that you've shaken hands on a first appointment and said, this may not be the best fit.
Oh, absolutely, because that's not doing either one of us a favor.
Yeah.
If we're not connecting, we're not connecting. If I'm not going to be as aggressive or whatever that you expect, I'm going to tell you that. Like, I'm not the right fit for you, because I want everyone that I meet with to have the best retirements ever. If they choose me or not, I still want them to have a beautiful retirement. Everyone deserves that. You work all those years waiting for it. You want it to be fun. But no, actually, I met a gentleman a couple last week that wanted me to try to go crazy aggressive at 70 years old. And I basically told him to not book an appointment with me because I didn't want to waste his gas driving to my office, because I would never feel comfortable doing what he's asking me to do. I'm very honest.
Yeah.
For better or for worse, Mark, I will shoot you straight.
Yeah, but she does it with this big smile on her face and this sweet charm. And you're like, wait a minute. I just felt like that was a tough conversation, but why do I feel so good and warm and fuzzy at the end of it? Wait a minute.
Because conversations don't have to be hard. If you're being honest and you're really putting your heart into it, people know. People know when you really care, when you're being fake and when you're not. And I do try to be very genuine.
Before we hit pause on this celebration weekend, I did want you to hear this clip from Black Hat Country talking about the great Clint Black.
This killing time.
Oh, one of the best of the best. I mean, I put him right up there with King George and Brooks and Dunn and Alan Jackson.
I grew up listening to him and Brooks and Dunn. Like, the stuff that they call country music now is not country. It's pop.
Yeah. And it is, and people are making a lot of money with it, but give me some Clint Black anytime. He's got a new book out. It is called Killing Time. And we recently had the opportunity to sit down with this country icon, and he talked about the power of patriotism.
Sacrifice. People sacrificed for it. Our founding fathers, they knew. They understood the issue at hand, and they understood the consequences of going against the King of England. So it's not a perfect union. It's not a perfect country. One of the things I notice is that people who root against their country or are not rooting for their country will root for a team of ball players before they'll root for their country. And I want to encourage all of you out there to think about that. If your home team is more important to you than your country, you might want to rethink it.
Words of wisdom from Clint Black. That's heavy, Amy Ross.
That is really, I'm just sitting here trying to soak that one in. I was like, wow, he's not wrong, though.
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
So he mentioned sacrifices there. So for what you do in retirement planning, what are some of the sacrifices that people may need to make today to give themselves that financial freedom later in life?
That's a hard one. I think that we live in an area, not just Myrtle Beach, but in a country in general, that everybody feels like the need to keep up with everybody else, with spending, with going out to eat, with doing this and with doing that. And I think a lot of times people feel embarrassed to say, no, I need to save more. But, there is a problem with people not having saved enough. And a lot of times it's because of living outside your means in your younger years, and not planning appropriately, or not ever sitting down with anyone who can actually say, hey, you should be saving XYZ dollars. If this is your goal, we're going to need this much money. No plan. So that would be my theory as to the main problem with that.
Just the power of having a plan. How many people just don't have a plan?
They don't. People just fly by the seat of their pants. And it's like, when you're younger like us, Mark, we're young, right? We're young. I think I'm younger than you, though, right?
Well, like a month, 2 months.
Well, it still counts.
It still counts. I'm still younger. Take that.
But think about it. When you're younger, in your 20s and your 30s, and even 40s, 40s, I love my 40s because I feel like that's when I finally got things figured out and life started to settle down some with expenses and everything flying around. But, given the fact that most people, they don't have pensions or anything, they're left to their own devices to save. And that's been a problem because people there's not enough meat on the bones a lot of times by the time you play for kids' sports. I heard on the news just yesterday that children's sports, all these, baseball and soccer, I think it's up 40% from just like a couple years ago as far as cost.
God.
It's crazy. So you think about that. There's just not enough money. People think, I know I need to be saving, but I also need to pay for this, that, and that too.
Yep.
And so it's like a devil on each shoulder trying to figure out who to listen to.
Mm-hmm. But that's where you come in to help us put that plan together.
Oh, I can be the voice of reason for you. That's what you need.
You got the angel, and you got the devil, and then you got Amy Ross.
And then you got Amy. Whether you call me an angel or a devil probably depends on what I'm telling you need to do.
Just give me a call. 843-585-5223. GoldShieldWealth.com to meet Amy and the team and to schedule that initial no cost, no obligation consultation. And before we hit pause, I think we should take a couple of seconds.
Made in America.
How do you plan to celebrate our independence this weekend, Amy Ross?
Fireworks.
Yes, ma'am.
The pool.
Yes, ma'am.
Watermelon.
Yes, ma'am. Boy.
Probably some ice cream, some cheeseburgers. I plan to just enjoy life, enjoy this beautiful country that I'm blessed to call mine.
Amen. And boy, you sound like a country song right there. Fireworks.
That would have been a good one, wouldn't it?
Fireworks,
I need to call. Do you think Blake Shelton would want to do a duet with me or something?
Do you have his number? You made that sound very like we're buddies.
I could probably get it if I needed it.
What?
Maybe.
Do you know people? You know people?
No, but I'm very resourceful, so I could figure it out.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Gold Shield Wealth Financial. Gold Shield Wealth is an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Gold Shield Wealth Financial are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Gold Shield Wealth Financial and IPW are not affiliated companies. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Gold Shield Wealth is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Gold Shield Wealth. This radio show is a paid placement. Any and all services related to Medicare are an outside business activity and are not offered through or supervised by Impact Partnership Wealth, IPW LLC. Gold Shield Wealth has a strategic partnership with tax professionals and attorneys who can provide tax and or legal advice.